this week, French President Emmanuel Macron was assaulted by his 72-year-old wife, First Lady Brigitte Macron, for the world to see. And although the slap was caught on camera, the French president insists that they were just joking, which we all know is a lie. But let's look at how CNN covered the incident. CNN video of Brigitte Macron pushing President Macron fuels Russian disinformation. Russian disinformation, have we heard that from the leftist media before? You know, that was the narrative around Hunter Biden's laptop. We were told that Russia meddled in the 2016 election, and now there's footage of the French president being slapped by his wife. What do? They link the story to Russian disinformation. It's almost like there's a pattern here when it comes to one side of politics. Now, Macron's office put out a statement saying they were just horsing around and that was all that was needed to give ammunition to the conspiracy theorists. Now, I do have to say that there are some wild conspiracies about the First Lady around out there that are completely absurd. But it is not a conspiracy that Brigitte Macron slapped her husband. And it really has a lot of people reflecting on their romantic love story, where Brigitte was Emmanuel's teacher. She was nearly 40 years old and he was just 15 when they met, which is really gross when you think about it. But the hosts of The View have discussed the incident on the plane. And who would have seen this coming but Whoopi Goldberg has come out leaping to the couple's defence and Brigitte's defence, insisting that she was simply reaching for her husband's face.
I'm sorry, what I saw, and maybe I'm crazy, but I saw someone doing this. Come here, let me move you.
I did not see that. I saw embarrassment.
That's what I saw.
Okay,
I saw reaching for his face.
A flight attendant.
And I'm sure that's exactly what Whoopi would say if this was Donald Trump and Melania. And when other hosts suggested that it was clearly icy between the couple as Brigitte refused to hold her husband's hand when he offered it to her while the cameras were rolling, well, Whoopi has a brilliantly insightful explanation for that too.
Joking narrative is sweet. I mean, we won't ever know what's going on here, but I
can tell you why she won't take his hand.
Why?
Because she doesn't want to look like she can't come down the stairs.
Or that, but there's a version.
It's time for Lefties Losing It. And bad news for MSNBC. Their ratings were already low, but they have plummeted even further. In the crucial 25 to 54 age demographic, MSNBC has seen its ratings plunge 41% during prime time and 34% across the total broadcast day, compared with just a year ago. Now, this is according to leaked ratings figures, and I can't imagine why.
We finished
it's a
the
wrap.
first episode.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. I need a drink. I need a drink. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And we're going to eat. We're going to drink. We're going to party. We're going to eat. We're going to drink. And we're going to be back tomorrow.
Meanwhile, in the back, they're like working.
Okay, come back.
I mean, why isn't there show rating? It's a mystery. And the host to suffer the most humiliating collapse is Jen Psaki. Let's have a look.
The speeches are getting much more disturbing and much more unhinged, and we should all hear it that way.
Now to CNN, who would have been none too happy about airing an interview where a hostage held by Hamas made it clear that the terrorists wanted Kamala Harris to win the election.
Scared of him. Yeah, they wanted...
Who?
The terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen, to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected. When Trump became president, the way they treated us changed. For me, personally, this is what I
think
felt.
because they anticipated that a deal would come soon.
Yeah.
And that's when they started giving you more food.
Exactly. More food, treated me better, stopped cursing me, stopped spitting on me.
When it comes to dealing with the media, no one in the Trump White House is more of a star performer, I think, than Trump advisor Stephen Miller, who is a living, breathing deportation machine. Here he is jousting with CNN's Pamela Brown.
Do you think a judge should just rubber stamp what your White House does? If not, what checks and balances do you think should be in place for this White House?
When you say do we think district court judges should rubber stamp each action? There is a premise that is built into that is absurd. The president is the sole head of the executive branch. He's the only officer in the entire government that's elected by the entire American people. Democracy cannot function. In fact, democracy does not exist at all if each action the president takes, foreign policy, diplomatic, military, national security, has to be individually approved by 700 district court judges. That's democracy. So if there's 15 communist crazy judges on the court, that each of them as a team working together can block and freeze each and every executive action.
Communist crazy judges, you gotta love it. Now, Miller also in that same interview had no time for CNN's failure to use the correct terminology when it comes to the word undocumented, which is just Orwellian newspeak for illegal.
Undocumented migrant sent a letter threatening to kill the president, promising to self-deport after the assassination. CNN reporting shows that investigators believe the migrant was set up. It was a victim of a setup. What is the administration going to do now? And this is an undocumented immigrant. I do want to note that, but this was someone who came forward, was a victim of a crime, and now law enforcement believes he was set up. Go ahead.
Well, I want to clarify what you mean, so we're talking about the same thing. Are you saying this immigrant was here illegally?
Yes, but I am, and that's why I said that. I clarified that.
You said undocumented, and I wasn't clear what that means. I'm assuming they have a fake ID. I'm assuming they have a fake social security number.
That's neither here nor there. That's getting away from the question, Stephen.
Now, footage of a TV reporter covering a paraglider crash at Stanwell Tops on the New South Wales South Coast over the weekend has gone viral for all the wrong reasons. A video taken by a bystander appears to show the crew using fake police-style blue and red lights to make their piece to camera more dramatic. We're not sure what network this is, but the video has clocked up more than 1 million views on TikTok. Lucy, you work in television for a long time like I have. This is getting absolutely slammed by commenters online. It's not a good look, is it?
Welcome to Stars and Gripes, and this week there are more activists pretending to be journalists, and it has led to a rather tense standoff between the NPR newsroom in the US and Donald Trump.
NPR has filed a First Amendment lawsuit against the Trump administration, alleging the president's efforts to defund them is a violation of the Constitution. Trump has accused NPR and PBS of bias, signing an executive order for the Corporation of Public Broadcasting to stop funding them. PBS says it's preparing to take legal action against the administration as well, but has yet to file a lawsuit.
When journalists think that they are constitutionally entitled to your tax dollars, they are just proving how out of touch they are. A president doesn't need a reason to cut funding from wherever he wants. But when you have a completely captured organisation like NPR, which is 100% filled with activist journalists, why wouldn't a president intervene? The last thing tax dollars should ever be used for is activism and politically motivated smears. Feel free to start a private company and do whatever you want. That's freedom. But the people shouldn't be forced to give you a cent. Now, predictably, NPR is now pretending to be extremely balanced, and in this interview with their CEO, Catherine Maher.
The White House and some Republicans in Congress, as you well know, have accused NPR of promoting a liberal bias. Beyond that, the former NPR editor, Yuri Berliner, he accused the network of having what he called a lack of viewpoint diversity. How do you respond to those critiques?
Well, I first of all respond by saying we're a nonpartisan news organization. We seek to be able to provide a range of different viewpoints in terms of who we bring on air, the stories that we tell. We're buttressed in this effort by the fact that we have 200 local newsrooms across the country.
Okay, so their CEO is politically neutral. I wonder how she would explain this tweet then from 2020. Now, the media is running a major campaign to back in Harvard in the funding dispute with Donald Trump. And the argument has similarities to the NPR one, that these institutions are somehow entitled to your money. But on MSNBC, they let slip what it's really about. Watch the guest grin and speak with glee about the fact that some races are being openly discriminated against when it comes to admissions.
there are no seats left for Americans. And you combine that with the critique of race-based admissions. This is about, really, these institutions, Chris, trying to build a student body that reflects not only the diversity of the country, but the diversity of the world. And Trump stoking a particular kind of grievance because people like him, their children can't seem to get into Harvard like they used to. They can't get into the Columbias and the Princetons like they used to. They're having difficulty getting into the Lehighs and the Williams like they used to. They believe they possess these institutions. And so, by virtue of their particular positions of power, they are trying to, in some ways, capture them once again.
How brazen do you have to be to openly admit that on national television?